Welcome back to the Tech Coach Corner YouTube series presented by Dyknow. I'm Tiara Lustig, your host, and today I am joined once again by Kyle Niemis, and we're talking all about flipped learning. So we've talked about flipped learning on the past on Tech Coach Corner, but today we're diving into real specific how you can make effective videos to use for flipped instruction in your classroom. So Kyle's sharing his best tips and advice to create effective videos, and I think you're gonna get some really great information from this episode. Before we jump in, as always, don't forget to subscribe to Dyknow's YouTube channel and follow us on all of our social media channels. And don't forget to register for our Progressive Learning Conference, which is happening on Monday, and it's going all week through Friday. So we have our live keynote kicking off the week on Monday, and then pre-recorded sessions, which Kyle is presenting at as well during the week. So go ahead and register for that using the link in the description. We can't wait to see you there. And without further ado, let's jump into our conversation with Kyle Niemis. Welcome back to Tech Coach Corner, everyone. I'm Tiara Lustig, your host today. And for today's episode, I am joined by Kyle Niemis. Kyle, would you mind giving a brief introduction to yourself before we get started?
Sure. Hi, everyone. I'm Kyle Niemis. I am a middle school tech coach from New Jersey, but most of my time was spent in the middle school science classroom.
Wonderful. Well, we've worked with you before on the Tackling Tech podcast, where you talked a lot about classroom cue as well as flipped learning, and we know you're a big proponent of flipped learning. Would you mind talking today a little bit about how teachers can create effective flipped learning videos, what tools they can use, what makes flipped learning videos effective, and then how they can use those videos in their classroom to create a flipped learning environment?
Yeah, for sure. I would love to. Flipped learning, again, by my definition, means that you're recording yourself and you're teaching. And so I will tell you, I've done a lot of workshops on flipped learning, and I've had a lot of teachers who see the whole thing as very overwhelming. The idea of recording themselves seems technology. How in the world am I going to figure out how to do that? Do I really want to hear my voice on there? There's so many things that I think stand in your way, but I can tell you that time and time again, because every workshop I do, I have them just do a sample one. And every person is always like, wow, I had no idea how easy it was to actually record your lesson. So I would encourage you out there to try it, because I think you're going to surprise yourself how easy it is to do. So I'm going to give you some of my favorite tips that I always give out when making the videos to hopefully make it easy and less stressful for everyone. So the first tip that I always give is you want to keep your videos really short and sweet. And that's good for you, and it's good for the kids. So even though you might be lecturing, let's just say doing a lesson in front of the class for 20, 30 minutes, you might only need like a 4 or 5 minute video. So the general rule of thumb I learned a long time ago, which I live by and I always tell, is you want your videos to be generally no longer than 1 minute per grade. So I was a 7th grade teacher, so I would make sure that no video was more than 7 minutes. And if you are saying like, oh my gosh, like, how am I going to squeeze all that into 7 minutes? The first thing I'll tell you is you probably can when you'll see when you get just down to the meat and potatoes. But then also, if it's really a lot of information, you can chunk it into different videos. Like I don't know about you, Tiara, but if I go on a YouTube video and I'm looking for a tutorial and it's 35 minutes long, I'm not watching that video. I'm looking for the 7 minute video, which is exactly, of course, why your series is perfect. Short and sweet and to the point. So that's my advice is keep it short and sweet, and it makes it less scary for you too. And the second piece of advice is getting rid of the whole perfectionist thing. Your video is never going to be perfect. You are going to mumble. You are going to say the wrong thing. You are going to look like you have food in your teeth. I don't know. There's going to be something that goes wrong with the video, and it's okay. Because when you're in front of the classroom, we make mistakes all the time. So if you are worried about how many times you need to record the video, 9 times to get that perfect lesson about the Civil War, you're going to drive yourself crazy. So just do it. I'm a big fan of one and done. You do it, you say it, and if somehow you mess something up, you make a little note that says, whoops, I meant to say something at the 2 minute spot. Sorry about that. And they are totally fine. So really you're okay with the one and done. Don't try to make the perfect video, because it's just never going to happen. You're going to drive yourself crazy. And then I would say the last thing, I guess, is how to get started. And so there's a couple tools out there, and I'll tell you what I used to do. And so I guess this is another piece of it too, is you really want to have your face in the video. And that I get pushback all the time, because again, if you're new to flipped learning, you're like, I don't want my face in the video. Can I just talk over a PowerPoint screen or something like that? And you can. If that's the best you're going to do, then do it. But there is so much value in you being in the video, even if it's just a little you in the corner of the screen. And that's why so many tools have that option. So I very, very much encourage you to be in the video. So what I used to do is I was the most like low tech guy imaginable because I was making so many videos. So what I would do is I would just like have my PowerPoint or whatever up in front of the classroom. I'd get to school early and I would just put my phone on top of like a table propped against a chair or something like that. And I would just like record myself teaching to like an empty classroom. And that was like my video, no editing, no crazy. It was just recording myself teaching to no one, which I got some weird looks when people also came in early and they saw me teaching to an empty classroom. They figured I had lost it. But my point of that is if you can take videos of your kids, you can take a video of yourself. You don't need crazy editing. But if you want to do screencasting, which is pretty popular, there's a couple tools. Screencastify is my favorite just because it links up with Google Drive and everything like that. But it does have a 5-minute limit on the free version. So Loom is a really great one for educators because it's free for educators and it lets you go a little bit longer. But if you're gonna, and there's some other ones out there for sure. But if you're looking to get started, I would do Screencastify, and it'll force you to make a 5-minute video at the longest anyway. So it might be a good thing to kind of force it that way. So I would say, to recap, keep them short and sweet. They don't need to be perfect. You should really be in the video and use the free tools that are out there. That's what I'd say.
I think those are great tips. We had a podcast episode with Bruce Reicher. I think I'm pronouncing that correctly. And he was explaining kind of to your point of not making them perfect. He said that before remote learning, he was putting these big lessons together and doing post-production editing and putting in effects and things like that. And it was taking him hours. And then he went ahead and just recorded himself talking. And it took him, the time it took to do the lesson. And then he sent it out and it saved him so much time. So I'm also a huge proponent of just done is better than perfect. Nothing needs to be heavily edited or done perfectly. It's the information that matters. So I think those are great tips for creating flipped learning videos. Kyle, let everyone know where they can find you to learn more about flipped learning and engage with you.
Sure. So Twitter is the best place. So it's at Kyle Niemis, KYLENIEMIS. And I said on a previous episode that myself and a couple other ed tech coaches are running a series starting in August every Wednesday at 8:30. We're going to do a whole YouTube series called Flip Flops of all the mistakes that we made about flip learning in hopes that we can help everyone out there as they go on their journey and how we corrected them and what we learned. So hopefully we can save you some energy and some time. So check it out. Again, you can check me out on Twitter and you'll see the information there.
That'll be a great series. We'll link that all below also so people can find it. And we'll definitely be tuning in and promoting your Flip Flop series so that people can engage with it. Thank you so much for being with us today, Kyle, to talk about flipped learning.
Yeah, thanks for having me.